If you're a senior driver in America right now, you need to stop everything and listen to this, because in February 2026, new driving laws just went into effect that could cost you your license, thousands of dollars in fines, or even trigger a forced medical review, and most seniors have absolutely no idea this is happening. The most dangerous part is not the laws themselves. The most dangerous part is that nobody is telling you about them until it is already too late. You will not get a warning letter. You will not get a courtesy call. You will simply wake up one morning to find a ticket in your mail, a denial notice on your license renewal, or an insurance bill that has suddenly doubled. And by that time, the damage is already done. Right now, across multiple states, automated enforcement systems are watching every move you make behind the wheel. These are not police officers who can use judgment or discretion. These are cameras, sensors, and algorithms that record every violation with perfect accuracy and zero mercy. They do not care that you have been driving safely for 40 years. They do not care that you have never caused an accident. They do not care that you did not know the rule had changed. They simply record what you did, generate the citation, and send it directly into the system where it sits permanently on your record, affecting your insurance rates, your license status, and in some cases, triggering reviews that could force you off the road entirely. February 2026 marks the official rollout of enforcement technology that has been quietly installed over the past year. Right now, in states like Michigan, Florida, Texas, Arizona, and Ohio, these systems are fully operational. Cameras positioned in construction zones, school zones, and high-traffic corridors are actively issuing citations to thousands of drivers every single day. The difference between now and 6 months ago is that enforcement has become automatic, instantaneous, and impossible to appeal through the normal channels you are used to. There is no officer to explain your situation to. There is no judge who will listen to your clean driving record and give you a break. There is only the recorded evidence, and that evidence is final. For seniors specifically, these changes are creating a perfect storm of financial and legal consequences. Older drivers already face higher insurance premiums simply because of age. A single automated citation can increase those premiums by 20 to 35% for the next 3 to 5 years. If you are currently paying $1,500 per year for car insurance, one violation you did not even know you committed can cost you an additional $300 to $500 every year for years. That is $1,500 to $2,500 in total, increased costs from one moment you were not even aware was illegal. For seniors living on fixed Social Security income, that kind of sudden expense is not just inconvenient. It can be financially devastating. But the financial hit is not even the worst part. What is catching senior drivers completely off guard right now is that certain violations are triggering automatic flags inside state DMV systems. These flags can require you to undergo additional testing, medical evaluations, or vision screenings before your license can be renewed. In some states, multiple minor violations within a short period, even violations you were not aware of, can result in mandatory driver improvement courses or even temporary license suspensions. And once your license enters that review process, getting it back to normal status is slow, expensive, and requires navigating bureaucratic systems that are deliberately confusing and difficult for older adults to manage alone. Let me be very clear about who is being affected right now. This is not about reckless drivers. This is not about people with long histories of dangerous behavior. The drivers being hit hardest by these new enforcement rules are experienced, careful, safe drivers who simply did not know the rules had changed or that enforcement had become automated. These are people who have been driving the same routes, the same way, for decades without incident. They trusted their experience. They trusted their clean record. They assumed that if something serious had changed, someone would have told them. But nobody told them. And now they are paying the price. Here is exactly what changed in February 2026 and why it matters so much to you. First, distracted driving enforcement has been upgraded to primary violation status in 17 additional states. What that means is that an officer no longer needs any other reason to pull you over. If they see a phone in your hand, even for 1 second, even while you are stopped at a red light, that alone is enough. You do not have to be texting. You do not have to be making a call. Simply holding the phone, glancing at the screen, or tapping it to dismiss a notification is now a finable offense in most states. The penalties start at $250 for a first offense and climb rapidly from there. But again, the ticket is not the real problem. The real problem is what happens to your insurance rate the moment that citation is recorded. Insurance companies now classify distracted driving violations in the same category as speeding and reckless driving. A single citation stays on your record for 3 to 5 years and increases your premiums significantly during that entire period. For senior drivers, this is especially painful because you are already in a higher risk category simply due to age. Adding a distracted driving violation on top of that can push your rates into territory that becomes unaffordable. And here is what makes it worse. Many seniors use their phones for navigation because they do not trust or understand the built-in systems in newer cars. They hold the phone to check directions. They glance down at the screen to see the next turn. They touch it briefly to zoom in on a map. All of that is now illegal under the updated definitions being enforced in 2026, and it is being enforced aggressively. The second major change is automated speed enforcement in construction zones and school zones. These zones are now monitored by AI-powered camera systems that measure your speed with absolute precision. If you exceed the posted limit by even 3 miles per hour while workers are present or during school hours, the system automatically generates a citation. There is no warning. There is no grace period. There is no human officer making a judgment call about whether the violation was intentional or serious. The camera records your license plate, calculates your exact speed, and the ticket arrives in your mail 2 to 4 weeks later. The fines start at $150 and increase sharply with each additional offense. In some states, a third violation within 12 months can result in fines exceeding $500 and mandatory court appearances. What makes this especially dangerous for seniors is that construction zones are constantly shifting. A road you have driven safely for years may suddenly have new cameras installed because of ongoing construction projects. Temporary speed limit signs may be partially hidden by trucks or equipment. You may not even realize you were in an active work zone until the citation arrives weeks later. And because these are classified as civil violations in some states, you do not receive the same due process protections you would with a traditional traffic stop. Appealing the citation is difficult, time-consuming, and rarely successful because the camera evidence is considered conclusive. The third change that is catching seniors off guard is stricter enforcement of right-of-way violations at pedestrian crossings and intersections. Many states have installed cameras at busy intersections that automatically detect when a vehicle fails to yield properly to a pedestrian or enters an intersection after the light has turned red. The timing windows have become extremely precise. What used to be considered acceptable, entering an intersection just as the light turns yellow, is now being cited as a violation if the system determines you could have safely stopped. For older drivers who may have slower reaction times or who are used to more forgiving enforcement standards, this represents a sudden and dramatic change in what is considered legal driving behavior. Here are the real consequences you need to understand. Every single one of these automated citations is reported to your insurance company. Even if the violation does not add points to your license, your insurer still sees it and still uses it to adjust your rates. If you receive 2 or more citations within a 12-month period, many insurers will reclassify you as a high-risk driver. That reclassification can result in premium increases of 40 to 60%, or even policy cancellations in extreme cases. For seniors who rely on their vehicle for medical appointments, grocery shopping, and maintaining independence, losing affordable insurance or losing your license entirely is not just an inconvenience. It is a direct threat to your quality of life and your ability to live independently. Beyond the financial impact, Multiple violations can trigger DMV review processes that require you to prove you are still competent to drive. Depending on your state, this can include written tests, behind-the-wheel evaluations, medical exams, or vision screenings. These reviews are not automatically triggered by age. They are triggered by violation patterns that the system flags as concerning. But once you are in that review process, getting out of it is slow and stressful. You may be required to surrender your license temporarily while the review is pending. You may need to pay for independent medical evaluations. You may need to complete driver improvement courses that cost hundreds of dollars and require multiple days of attendance. So, what do you need to do right now to protect yourself? First, if you use your phone for navigation, you must install a dashboard mount or vent mount immediately. Your phone must be completely hands-free. You cannot hold it. You cannot touch it while driving. You cannot glance down at it in your lap. Set up voice commands for calls, texts, and navigation before you start driving. If you do not know how to do this, ask a family member or go to your phone carrier store and have them show you. This single change will eliminate the most common violations seniors are receiving right now. Second, treat every construction zone and school zone as absolute. If the sign says 45 miles per hour, drive 45 exactly. Do not assume the cameras are not active just because you do not see workers. Do not assume you can go a few miles over to keep up with traffic. The cameras do not care what everyone else is doing. They only care what you are doing. Slow down early. Stay at or below the posted limit through the entire zone. Do not speed up until you see the sign indicating the zone has ended. Third, approach every intersection with extreme caution. If the light turns yellow and you are not already committed to entering the intersection, stop. Do not try to beat the light. Do not assume you have time. The automated systems are measuring your speed and position with precision you cannot match by guessing. It is better to stop and wait than to receive a citation for running a red light or failing to yield properly. Fourth, review your insurance policy right now. Understand what your current rate is and what your coverage includes. If you receive a citation, contact your insurance agent immediately to understand how it will affect your rates and whether there are any options to mitigate the increase. Some insurers offer accident forgiveness or violation forgiveness programs, but you usually have to enroll before the violation occurs. Check if your policy includes those options and sign up now, if available. Fifth, talk to your family about these changes. Make sure your adult children or relatives understand what is happening and why it matters. If you start receiving citations, or if your license renewal is delayed or denied, you need people who can help you navigate the process. Do not wait until you are in crisis to ask for help. Have those conversations now while you still have time to prepare. Here are the most common mistakes seniors are making right now that are costing them their licenses and their financial security. Mistake number 1 is assuming that decades of safe driving will protect you. It will not. The automated systems do not consider your history. They only consider what happened in that specific moment. Your clean record does not give you any buffer or any second chances. Mistake number 2 is believing that if something was truly serious, you would be notified immediately. You will not. Citations arrive weeks later by mail. By the time you receive them, the violation is already on your record, and your insurance company may have already been notified. Mistake number 3 is thinking you can talk your way out of an automated citation the same way you might have been able to with a police officer in the past. You cannot. There is no human discretion involved. The camera evidence is treated as final and conclusive. Appealing is possible but rarely successful unless there is a clear technical error. Mistake number 4 is continuing to drive the same way you always have because it feels safe and familiar. What felt safe 5 years ago may now be illegal. The rules have changed even if the roads look exactly the same. You must adjust your habits to match the new enforcement reality. Mistake number 5 is ignoring citations or failing to respond because you believe they are not serious or because you think they will go away. They will not go away. Ignoring them will result in late fees, additional penalties, and in some cases, license suspension. You must respond to every citation promptly, even if you believe it was issued in error. If you are over 65 and you drive regularly, these changes are not optional to understand. They are mandatory. February 2026 represents a permanent shift in how driving is monitored and enforced in America. The systems that are active right now will only expand in the coming months. More states are rolling out automated enforcement. More cameras are being installed. More violations are being classified as primary offenses. The window of time where you could rely on warnings, discretion, or leniency is gone. The new reality is automated, immediate, and unforgiving. Your experience does not protect you anymore. Your clean record does not protect you anymore. The only thing that protects you now is awareness, preparation, and changing your habits to match the new rules. If you do not make those changes, you will pay for it financially, legally, and possibly with your independence. This is not about fear. This is about reality. The drivers who survive this transition without major consequences are the ones who take it seriously right now, today, before the next violation is recorded. Protect yourself. Protect your license. Protect your future, because in 2026, nobody else is going to do it for you.